Well, what we're going to talk about today is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and order of operations. So I'm not going to, bore you with essentially the adding and subtracting. We'll go over a couple problems here, about carrying numbers and things like that. So if we had something like 33 plus, let's say, 77. All right, we add this up. We know 7 and 3 is 10, but we put a 0 there and we carry a 1, and it becomes 7 and 3 and 1, 11, so 110. And I understand that, you probably know this already, but it's part of what we're supposed to cover in the lecture. So, we'll do another example here, 345 plus 68. Okay. So 8 and 5 is 13. We put the 3 down. We carry the 1. 6 and 4 is 10. With 1, that's 11. Then carry it again, and we end up with 413. Let's look at subtraction. Let's say we have 382 minus 63. Okay, so we can't take 3 from 2, and it doesn't happen. So we got to borrow. So we make that a 7, and we make this a 12. So that becomes a 9. 7 minus 6 is 1, and there's nothing here. So that's 319. Let's try another one. 382. Let's make it 94 this time we do subtraction. Okay, and again, we're going to have to borrow. 12 minus 4 is 8. 7 won't go from 9, so we got to borrow again. 17 from 9 is 8 again. And we're left with 288. Okay, so that's adding and subtracting. Let's look at multiplication. Okay. Multiplication. Let's do 34 times 3. All right, 4 times 3, it's kind of like the addition, but now you're multiplying. 12, we need to carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus the 1, 102. If there's multiple numbers, let's say it's 34 times 33. Okay. Multiply the bottom number, each one, through the 34. What I mean by that is 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So we got 102. Now, we put a placeholder down. Okay. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9. Put a 10 there. Now, add them up. 2, 2, 1, 1. So 1,122. If we had 3 digits, let's say it's 356 times 21. Okay. Or let's say it's 221. Sure. All right. We'd go 6. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. Put a placeholder. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1. We have a 7 there. Now, we're moving on to another one. We need 2 placeholders. So the more you go, the more placeholders you need. And then it's going to be the same thing. 12, 1, and 7 that way. And then add them up. 6, 7, 6, 8, 7. So 78,676. Don't worry about rounding or anything. We'll do another chapter on rounding and things like that. Just get the right answer. Do it without a calculator. Okay, I know a calculator is available. The whole point of this is to practice working in case, and I know we always carry calculators now because we have our phones, but just in case. All right, what about division? All right, so let's look at, 3 3 divided by, I always make a square root sign instead of divided by, or into 156. So 156 divided by 3. Okay, so when this happens, you got to figure out how many 3's go into 1. None, so we skip. We go to the next number. If the number doesn't go into the first number, you go to the next number. 3 goes into 15, though, 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. So now we subtract here. 15 minus 15 is 0. Bring down the 6. 3 goes into 6 twice. Okay. 3 times 2 is 6, and we are left with a 0. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do 4 divided by, I don't know, 176 divided by 4. So 4 into 176. All right, 4 doesn't go into 1. 4 goes into 17 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16, though. Okay. Subtract. We got 1. Bring down the 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. And that's 16. And we're left with a 0. Okay. Now, what if we have a bigger digit out here? What if we have something like 12 and we want it to go into, let's say, 288. I don't know, let's try that. Okay, so it's the same principle. 12 doesn't go into 2. 12 does go into 28 2 times. 2 times 12 is 24. We're left with a 4, subtracting it, and 8, 48. And now 12 goes into 48 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48, and 0. So let's do the same problem, but let's do it with, instead of 288, let's do it with 290. Okay. So same thing, 12 goes into 29 2 times, which is 2 times 12 is 24, so you multiply that. We have 50. It goes in 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. Okay. And we're left over with 2. And for right now, what we could write is a remainder 2. When we get into decimals and fractions, we will go deeper into this. Okay, so that's long division. And again, the whole purpose is do not use your calculator. You can use your calculator to check, but do not use your calculator. Practice. Okay, now, order of operations. PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, adding and subtracting. And that's the order you do it if you have a problem. Okay. So if I had something like 3 times 2 minus 4 times 8. And I said, well, how do I do this? Well, a lot of people want to work left to right and go 6 minus 4 times 8. And then say 6 minus 4 is 2 times 8. And then we're left with 16. Well, it's not really how it works. Okay, what you would do first is multiply these numbers, 6. Then you would multiply these numbers, 32. And you would take 6 minus 32. And I know we didn't do integers yet, and we will do integers, but the answer here would be negative 26 would be the right answer. And the reason being is that you don't go left to right is because multiplication comes before adding and subtracting. So let's say we had a problem like this. Okay, we had 3 minus 2 times 8 and then minus 1. Okay, well, what would we do? All right, well, we would do the parentheses first, 3 minus 2, which would be 1. Then times 8 minus 1. Now we do this next, because this is the multiplication, so we'd have 1 times 8, which is 8 minus 1, and our answer would be 7. So even though this is adding and subtracting, because the parentheses are there, the last problem there were no parentheses, but because the parentheses are there, we would do the subtraction first. Now we can even get crazier here, and we can get our parentheses, and let's say we had 12 plus 3 squared minus 8 times 2. So we would do the square first and the parentheses together. So the square in here. So first it would be the parentheses. So we look at the parentheses. Then the exponent gets done first. So it's not 12 plus 3 and then square it. It's 3 squared first. So we would expand the parentheses out to be 12 plus 9. 3 squared is 9. Okay. Minus 8 times 2. 12 plus 9 is 21. So now we have 21 minus 8 times 2. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I want to do 21 minus 8, which would be 13 times 2, and the answer is 26. Nope, now the multiplication comes into play. Okay. So 8 times 12 is 16. 21 minus 16 is 5. Should be the answer. Well, what if I don't have multiplication and division? What if I just have, or I don't have adding and subtracting or parentheses, I just have something like this. 35 minus 12 plus 8 minus 3. Here, if everything is in the same category, the adding and the subtracting, the multiplication, division, the parentheses, exponents, you work left to right like you would read. Okay, so we do 35 minus 12, which is 23, plus 8, which is 31, minus 3, which leaves us with an answer of 28. Okay, so make sure you're following your order of operations before you do anything else here. Okay. Let's do one more. Let's do 2 cubed minus 3, okay, times 2 in parentheses plus 6 divided by 2. Okay, so we would do our exponents. We look in the parentheses first, then the exponents inside the parentheses. 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again, so 2 cubed is 8. Now, minus 3 times 2. Minus 3 times 2, so that would be a minus 6. We would do this next because it's multiplication. So in the parentheses, I have 8 minus 6. I have 2. Minus, or sorry, plus we have out here, 6 divided by 2. Do I add the 6 first? No. I take the 6 divided by 2 because of PEMDAS. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my answer should be 5. Okay, up on Blackboard, I will have a bunch of review problems for you to do. Check them out. And if you have any questions, either hit the discussion board or send me an email.